So, wie heißt denn der? Charles. Wie hieß denn der jetzt nochmal? Der Charles. Charles Wade hieß er. So ist das. Charles Wade, geboren, ja, überwiegend von Dr. R. Friedman, St. Francis Medical Center, KC. Bei dem Patienten wurde erfolgreich ein invasiver Eingriff am offenen Herz durchgeführt. Er wurde aber einige Bitte in diese Einrichtung verlegt. Die Prognose ist positiv und der Patient soll erwartungsgemäß in 6 bis 8 Wochen vollkommen genesen sein. Raum 6b.
Rows and columns of.
Dann haben wir jetzt den Raum, wo wir den finden.
It's all right, Claude.
Understood, sir.
So, you managed to find me.
Ganz genau.
I did.
Well, let's get this over with then. How do you want your pictures? Shall I get some tubes to fill my face with? Will that suffice for your front page?
Was?
I'm no journalist. Well, not yet anyway.
She's but a cub. So, you're hoping for your big break.
Nein, eigentlich nicht.
Surely this must be worth an internship at one of the big papers. Do you want me to call Thompson at the Times and get it over with? I still play golf with him every once in a while.
Darum geht es hier nicht, es ist
That's
persönlich.
not what this is about. It's personal.
Sounds serious. Perhaps I should ask Claude to produce his gun.
You know, Charles, the person most likely to be harmed by a gun tends to be its owner.
Das stimmt wohl.
That's something the Japs who captured me learned the hard way.
Ach
Did
so.
your grandfather bail you out then too, or was that one of the few times where he didn't save your sorry ass?
Hold on there. Explain yourself.
You're
Ja.
willing to listen to something other than your own voice? I'm stunned. I'm Kathy Rain.
Ganz genau.
Joseph was my grandfather.
Now I remember. You were at the funeral.
Ganz genau, da war ich.
You were late.
I needed my morning smoke. Besides, it's not like Grandpa was going anywhere.
Oh, just look at her, Claude. She's absolutely fearless.
Ja, das ist so.
Joseph's blood running through her veins.
She certainly has a smart mouth, sir.
I must say, you have me intrigued, Kathy. What can this old man help you with?
Naja, also, fangen wir doch mal an.
Do you know anything about what happened to my grandfather in '81?
I wish I did, Kathy. You must know I did everything in my power to help. How do you think Mary Elizabeth could afford all that expensive treatment? MRIs, neurologists, say what you will about Joseph.
Ach so.
Never rich.
Strange. Grandma never mentioned that to me.
She's just too proud.
Ach so.
At first
Ja, das muss natürlich so sein.
she was convinced that I had an agenda, that there were strings attached.
Ach, wirklich?
And were there?
Don't be silly. Despite all that had happened, I still loved Joseph dearly.
Na gut, das ist natürlich...
People from places like this have a deeply rooted mistrust in the rich, passed on for generations. In
Das
her
muss
eyes,
so sein.
I had become one of them.
So that's all you know about the whole affair?
Are you implying that there's more to know? I left the diagnosis to the professionals.
Na gut, wenn du das
Mrs.
sagst.
Accepted the healthcare, but asked me to stay out of everything else. So I did.
I see. What can you tell me about your friendship with Grandpa?
Joseph was
Ja,
the
das
best
wüsste ich jetzt gerne
friend
mal.
I ever had. We grew up together, married our high school sweethearts together, went
Ach
to
so.
war together. I can't even begin to count the number of times he's saved my life. I repaid the favor once or twice, but he...
Ja, das ist doch freundlich.
No doubt.
So, when did you two lose touch? I heard that something happened between you and him. What was it?
Das wüsste ich jetzt auch gerne mal.
The truth is, Brian Rain happened. Sharon Evans happened.
My parents?
Yes.
Ja, so muss das wohl
They
sein.
ruined everything with their vile, destructive behavior. I couldn't have that around my daughter or my newborn grandson. Joseph was naive. He believed that anyone could be helped, that anyone could be reasoned with.
Ja, wenn er das sagte.
He was just too good, bless him. He should have been harder on Brian, more strict.
It's
Aber
hardly Grandpa's fault. He did everything he could to set my father straight.
Oh, I never claimed to doubt Joseph's commitment, but I'm not going to ignore his flaws either. Your grandfather often used his heart when he should have used his head.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
I believe
das
it
ist wohl so.
but I shouldn't speak ill of the dead. Eventually, my company grew much too large for this little town, and we moved on. Not long after that, your grandfather ended up in that wheelchair.
Das ist natürlich nicht so gut gewesen.
Our friendship, for obvious reasons.
Hier die Lily Myers.
You bought a number of paintings by Lily Myers. Why?
I'm known to dabble in art from time to time. Martha, my wife at the time, was enamored with the paintings. I believe she first saw them at the high school which the Myers girl attended. Anyway, after the
ja.
poor girl killed herself, I bought the paintings speculatively. When a young artist with any talent to speak of commits suicide, it can be a wet dream of certain connoisseurs.
Ach, wirklich?
After procuring the art, I had it valued by an expert who determined that the value was 3 times the amount I bought it for.
Ach so.
Today, I'm sure I would have made my money back tenfold or more if it wasn't for the art theft.
What art theft?
Interessant.
Burglary at the mansion I used to own here in town. It was all over the local news at the time.
Well, shit.
Eloquently put.
Ja.
Do you recognize the call sign Cocky?
Das ist eine
Would
gute
be
Frage.
strange if I didn't, since I was the one who coined it. It belongs to a fellow named Jimmy Cochran. He was a coward, really. The nickname is somewhat of a bad joke.
Ach, wirklich?
Thanks.
Ja, den Jimmy Cochran haben wir. Kannst du mal von
Tell me
irgendwas
about
sagen?
Jimmy Cochran. Is he still alive?
In a literal sense, he's been held in a mental institution
Ach
for
so.
years.
Let me guess. Since 81?
Either 82 or 83. I'm fairly certain it was early 83.
Do you remember the name of the institution?
Something starting with an E. Emerson, Everton, or similar.
Ingstrom? Ingstrom Psychiatric Hospital?
Das könnte sein.
Yes, that's the one. You know the place, Kathy.
Naja, also.
I do. My mother is in there. Sharon Evans? I had her committed about a year ago.
I see. It must have taken a lot of courage to do that, Kathy.
Das ist wohl richtig.
Mothers have a lot of power over us. More than most of us care to admit.
I guess so. Do you know why Jimmy ended up in there?
Some obsessive-compulsive syndrome. He became fixated
Ach so.
with circles and started hurting himself, trying to scratch the circles out of
Ja, dann ist das natürlich verständlich, wenn er da ist.
I wonder what set him off. I think I'll check the place out tomorrow. Too late to head back to the city now.
Hier, die kunstige
Can you tell
Störung.
me about the art theft?
Well, somebody broke in, stole the paintings, and got out. Fairly clumsy job. Lots of broken windows. The strangest thing was that I had a Monet, a Rembrandt, and 2 paintings by Picasso, untouched.
Ja, das ist in der Tat seltsam.
Painting by an unknown local artist, gone.
That can't be a coincidence.
Das stimmt wohl.
Agreed. Somebody wanted those paintings badly.
I assume there was an investigation.
Yes, Sheriff Truman came by with his deputy a few hours later, but they
Ach
didn't
so.
have much luck. They found a few hairs, which turned out to be from Ruffles, the family dog.
Some stunning police work right there.
Indeed.
Das ist wohl richtig.
There was a single witness, though, who said he could make out multiple burglars leaving the scene of the crime, but nothing more than that.
So, I take it the case was closed?
Yes. I honestly didn't care much one way or the other.
Ach so.
Even the fact that my most expensive pieces were safe and sound.
I think I'll have a chat with the sheriff about the matter, if that's okay with you.
Certainly. I'll call ahead and instruct him to give you everything you need.
That'd be
Ach so.
great. Thanks, Charles.
Anytime. But I'm curious. What's your interest in the paintings?
I
Naja,
learned that my grandfather went to Sue and asked to see them, right before he had his injury.
Is that so? Strange.
in der Tat. Hier die Kirche,
What
weißt
can
du
you tell
darüber
me
was?
about the Church of the Holy Trinity?
They seem like any other church to me. But then again, I'm not their usual clientele.
Nicht?
Weddings, baptisms, and funerals are just about what I can muster. And I always leave early.
Do you recognize this, Charles?
Ja, das ist eine gute Frage.
Your grandfather, me, Jimmy Cochran, taken shortly before we went to the war.
You guys look like you just won the lottery or something.
Indeed. We were mere children, with no concept of what we were getting into.
Ja,
What do you
dann.
see in this picture, Charles?
Fireflies would be my best guess. They can grow terribly large around these parts.
Ja, das ist eine
Do you know what
komische
this is?
Interpretation.
Why don't you consult a botanist instead of bothering me with this nonsense?
Haben wir denn sonst noch was?
I don't need to show.
Okay, das zeigen wir ihm nicht.
Do you know what this key opens?
You must be truly desperate if you ask random people a question like that.
Das ist in der Tat richtig.
Thanks, Charles. That's all I need for now.
You're welcome, Kathy. Come back anytime.
Dann werde ich das doch mal machen. Das heißt, können wir mit dem noch reden?
I'd rather not. He crushed me like a twig.
Haben wir sonst noch was? Ein
Looks like
Grammophon.
Wade brought some of his old tunes with him. Just some boring landscape paintings. Just some boring
Okay. Telefon.
private phone. Wade must get special privileges here.
Dann haben wir das ja geklärt. Das heißt, was liegt da noch? Da liegt offenbar gar nichts. Das heißt, haben wir in der Richtung noch was? Okay, da geht's auch noch raus. Mal sehen, wo können wir denn da noch hin? Hütte am See, Klinik, Kirche.
Hello, Father.
Greetings, my child. I'm glad you decided to come here.
Yeah, but just so you know, I'm not here to join your church or anything.
Oh, I would never assume that.
Ach so.
Good. So, with that out of the way, I have some questions.
Anything you need. I'm Isaac Price.
Kathy.
Ja.
Kathy Rain, but I'm guessing you figured that out already.
Das ist wahrscheinlich richtig.
Rumors spread quickly around here. So, how can I be of service?
Naja, also fangen wir doch mal mit dem
Do
Vorfall
you know
an.
anything about what happened to my grandfather in 81?
It was the work of the devil, I'll say that much. Joseph was a kind man. He did not deserve such a fate. You heard my speech at the funeral, Kathy. I meant every word. He was a
Also,
great man who did much good for this community.
Did you know him personally?
In a way, he and my father did charity work together. Joseph was around a lot when I was young.
ach
I
wirklich?
collaborated on a few different projects for the homeless and for the troubled youth, among other things.
So my grandfather was a member of the church?
I wouldn't say that, no. He was a friend of the church, but he wasn't a religious man. He believed only in philanthropy. That being said, Joseph was the person who convinced me to become a priest.
Ach wirklich?
Oh yes, I was a teenager back then, full of rebellion, every fiber of my being wanting to distance myself from my father. Joseph made me
Das ist
realize
natürlich eine
my spiritual
Einstellung.
pride and showed me how I should follow my heart, regardless of what others might think. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Hier, die Lily
Does
Myers.
the name Lily Myers mean anything to you?
It does. I was a substitute teacher in her high school for some time before I was ordained.
Ach, wirklich?
Did you know her personally?
We weren't close. I only knew her as much as a teacher would know any student.
All right, so how did she seem toward the end?
For one, she started
Ja.
skipping school a lot.
Das
And when
ist
she
natürlich
did
nicht
show
so
up,
gut.
She was absent-minded and moody. She always looked depressed and hunched down like she had a whole world on her shoulders.
Any idea of what caused this change?
Not a clue. All I know is that when she returned from that last summer break, she was a whole different person.
Hier, der
Do you know who Jimmy
Jimmy.
Cochran is?
I don't recognize that name, no.
Hier, die
Do you know
Kunst. Weißt du
anything
darüber,
about
dass,
art
was das hier
forms
gestohlen
in the
wird?
state in the 80s?
I have just a vague memory of reading about it in the paper.
Ja, und hier die
Can you
Kirche.
tell me the history of the church?
I'd be happy to. The story is a fascinating one. This church was founded by my father, William T. Price, in the
Ach so.
70s. Back then, he made his living as a traveling salesman and was driving through this area as he'd done so many times before. However, this day was different. My father held dark thoughts in his mind. He was angry,
Ah ja.
thinking of evil deeds, even considering swerving off the road into a rock and ending it all. Then suddenly, divine intervention. 3 bright lights appeared. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, the sign of God. This epiphany was the moment my father had been waiting for.
Ach,
He
wirklich?
sold all of his belongings and took me and my brother to live with him here in Conwell Springs. Soon thereafter, he built this church and started gathering followers. They began to refer to him as Father Bill.
I take it that window up there resembles what he saw when he had this epiphany.
Indeed. The
Ja.
stained glass window depicts the Holy Trinity as witnessed by my father.
Do you know exactly when or where this event took place?
Why do you ask?
Naja.
Curious. It's a captivating story.
Well, it was in the spring of 1971, but my father never told anyone where.
Okay, so what happened then?
Das ist eine gute
People
Frage.
flocked to Father Bill. He started teaching, writing scripture. The church flourished and continued to grow all the way up until his sudden death in 1983. That's when I stepped in to take leadership of the church.
I take
Das
it
ist
that the
natürlich,
church started declining after the death of Father Bill.
Yes, naturally so. With such a magnetic personality, he was irreplaceable. But I assure
Das ist
you,
natürlich schon mal, ja. Sehr schön, wenn das.
Looks kinda empty to me.
Das stimmt wohl.
it's not really our peak hours.
What's up with you handing out pamphlets at funerals then? Trying to reel people in at a weak moment?
I'm going to assume you meant no disrespect, child. I'm simply providing divine guidance when it's needed the most.
Ja, hier.
Recognize the men in this picture, Isaac?
Only your grandfather, and that's just because I was given a similar picture for the service the other day.
Der Schlüssel, sagt
You know
er
what this key
was?
opens?
I'm afraid not, my child.
Und jetzt
I
hier,
could,
das.
but I think I have more to gain from a subtle strategy. I'll keep it to myself for now, until I know more about this church.
Das vielleicht auch nicht so schlecht. Hier sagt ja die Blume
Father,
was.
do you know anything about this flower?
No, my child. Nothing at all.
Der wirkt aber irgendwie sehr verdächtig, wie er das sagt.
That's all I need for now, Father.
May the Lord shine his light on you.
Ja,
Impressive,
Buntglasfenster.
There's no doubt about it. Those are the smoky lights. It's an altar. You know, the place where they put the sacrificed goats, kids, and other crap.
Ja, natürlich. Genau das macht man da ja immer. Bibeln. Kann ich da eine klauen?
I really shouldn't. They might burn.
Okay, dann halt nicht.
A bunch of red Bibles stacked in neat rows.
Kann ich da durch die Tür gehen?
Could lead to a sacristy or a closet of some kind.
Mal sehen, stört ihn das?
Locked. Nope, not the right key.
Schade. Die wird wahrscheinlich auch zu sein, ne?
Locked.
Hier diese gruselige Musik, die da immer... Das ist ja schon...
Nope, not the right key.
Dann gehen wir mal zum Ausgang.